Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Personal Leadership Live. This is episode number 53. My name is Jim Miller, and we're live today on Facebook and YouTube. Today is Becoming Monday. Mondays, we talk about becoming, and this is a show where we change the topic every day. We have specific topics for each day of the week. Monday, we talk about becoming. And Tuesdays, we talk about longevity, how to have an awesome, energetic, joy-filled life for a long time, and then die. Live, die. That's what one of my DOs likes to say, Dr. Blancet. So live, die. So we talk about longevity on Tuesdays. Wednesday, we talk about building an audience and the importance of that in your life, to take a passion that you've got, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, and step out into the world on faith and find an audience. Talk about what you love, something that you love. It doesn't matter what it is, just find something that you love. And I know we've all got something, and talk about it, just like I'm doing here. And people will begin to find you. You be consistent with it, and you'll build that audience. And while you're doing that, amazing things will happen. As you begin speaking, your confidence will increase. Your articulation will increase. Your thoughts and thought patterns will improve. And you'll be able to speak more, not only here on this venue, like electronically, but you'll find that when you're in situations where you're with other humans face to face, that you'll have more confidence there too. And that's a wonderful feeling, let me tell you. Then Thursdays, we talk about building generational wealth. And that's an exciting topic that there's getting a lot of buzz right now, because the job situation is tenuous. There's a lot of people that are really hurting financially right now, or on the verge of hurting, losing their jobs, or their companies getting acquired, or their companies moving, or they're being replaced by technology. AI is coming on. A lot of jobs are getting displaced, moved around. And as a consequence, people's incomes are affected, and their livelihoods are affected. So being in a position to build generational wealth is important today. And the first step to that is building for yourself a plan B income. If you're an employee or even an employer, your business is subject to the winds of change, and your company may change or be acquired, or something may happen, or you may end up, if like during the pandemic, a lot of companies just disappeared. And wouldn't it be nice to have residual and passive income coming in, just in case something happened along the way? My opinion is yes. So on Thursdays, we talk about building generational wealth. And then Fridays, we're giving back. We talk about, on Fridays, community service, in ways that we can give back person to person in our own communities. Every week, spend an hour or two doing something in your local community. Go do something. Get out of your chair and go be face to face, helping people do something with something that you would enjoy doing. Last week, we talked about adventure volunteering. There were two companies right here in my town. One is set up to help veterans who have served, who are wounded, by taking them out into the ocean and scuba diving. Amazing therapy there. And then another one, similar thing, but they use, instead of scuba, they use off-road vehicles, and lots of beautiful, I'm sure, memories and stories there as well. So take some time, find something that you'd love to do, and go do it. Give your time. So today, Monday, is Becoming Monday. And I have a question. The question I want to ask today is pretending to become someone you're not a good idea? Is it okay to do that? And I know a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people. I did it. I When I was just out of college, I was ambitious. I had a lot of big dreams. I still do, but at that time I had very little skill, very little confidence. I had enough to be enough to be dangerous, and I'd step out into the unknown all the time, just be brave and do things that I had never done before, and that becomes a habit. Then you work yourself into a job that maybe is a little bit more than you should be able to handle with what you know and who you've become so far. So, in order to kind of soothe yourself and give yourself that confidence, you picture yourself as somebody that you're not, and you become that person. And I did that. And it lasted for years. And I got myself into a position where I was making really good money, but it wasn't me. If that makes any sense, it was a person that I had created, and I think now looking back on it that I became a corporate chameleon. I was working in corporate, and I became someone else when I was at work. So people wouldn't recognize me. They'd talk to me at work. I'd have completely separate friends at work and completely separate friends at home, and I was two different people. And it was normal for me. I got into that was like a normal thing for me. And I propose today on this show for this discussion that that's a mistake that I could say I made. And if you're in the process of doing that now, there will be consequences somewhere down the road. There will be consequences. Someday that's all going to come together, and it's going to be uncomfortable, I think. And I guess the question to ask yourself is when that moment happens, or time, it's not just a moment, it's a time. It's a could be a year or two where those things start meshing, and you need to be yourself, but you can't anymore. And there's a problem there, and you don't know who you are. I got to a point where I really didn't know myself. And I've learned subsequently by studying this that it's a pretty common thing that people do. So, my thought for you today is taking a look at that for yourself. I'm asking, are you like I did, pretending to be someone you're not? And is there any risk in that for you? It's a good question to think about for yourself. So, to kind of pull this discussion into focus, I found a story. It's from agreatmood.com, and it's a story called "How to Stop Pretending to Be Someone." And it was published just recently. Looks like so. I'm going to pull this up, and we can chat about it for a bit. So let me pull this up here and do it that way. So this article is called 7 Ways to Stop Pretending to Be Someone You're Not. And it's amazing looking at this article. It's like, wow, that's me. And that's what I did. And it's kind of almost crazy. But I had it fully justified in my mind. It made sense. It actually worked to get what I wanted done. But in the process, I didn't know at the time, but I was setting myself up for a huge failure. And I think in the long run, looking back at that, it was the wrong thing to do. And what I should have done was stayed true to me, no matter what, and not go off on some tangent to be someone I wasn't so that I could be quote unquote successful. Because eventually it all fell apart and just it was a mess. I had to regroup and reestablish, and it's a lot of work. A lot of work. And so my encouragement to you and what I'm working on now is resetting myself up, and I'm becoming my best self. I'm working on me and my purpose and what I'm about and what gifts that I have to offer the world, and to understand that I am enough, that I was given a ton of gifts, and that I really would be wise to be grateful for that and use those gifts to my best ability. And that is enough. That would be enough. So with that, let's talk about this article, 7 ways to stop pretending to be someone you're not. So they go into to stop pretending to be someone you're not, see your uniqueness as a strength, and stop chasing perfection, which is really what I was doing. I was chasing what I thought was perfection. I was pushing myself to be a perfect sales rep / employee. And I did pretty well. I got pretty darn good at it. It says, know that some people may not resonate with the real you, which is fine, and put yourself in the right environment. The one where you don't need to pretend. The one where you don't need to pretend. That's what I didn't do. I put myself into an environment where I felt I needed to pretend in order to be effective. And I took on that role. And it was, at first, it was kind of cool. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. And then months, years went by, and pretty soon it was like it's a fuzziness between who I am, and this pretend person. And it ended up that this pretend person was who I was. And then I woke up one day and it was like, who am I? And why am I here? What am I doing? I've lost everything around me because things just fell apart. I believe because I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't being who I was. And people pick that up. People are sharp. People are smart. They pick that stuff up. And so being yourself and being happy with you, I think, is the first commitment. And then working to figure out who the best you is another big step. Who the best you is. So whether it's because of low self-esteem, adaptive behavior, or fear of not fitting in, those are the primary reasons why people do this. And it says, if so far you've been someone you're not, it's time to change. I agree. It's time to show the world the real you, the only you. Yeah. The only you. So why pretend to be someone you're not? Well, here's some reasons they start. This is important. It says, you want to understand the root causes, the factors, your own thought processes before you even begin to embrace who you are and stop pretending. So just you have to stop and take time, which I was basically forced to do during COVID, which is probably the best benefit for me of COVID, in that I had to stop. I lost my job, my health went down, and I was like completely at what I thought was pretty close to rock bottom. And nothing worked. Nothing was working at all. So I had to just stop and start listening to my body, listening to my heart, and listening to what made sense from the universe, and meditation and listening and just feeling what made sense and healing myself and getting to learn what I was passionate about, and then investing in slowly, baby steps, getting back into it. And that strategy, I think, has been working, and it takes time. And I'm very fortunate that I've been able to take the time to do that. If this had happened in the middle of my career, it would have been very disruptive to everybody around me, because I built this whole structure based with finances and a house and cars and vacations and credit cards and all this stuff that I needed to be who I thought I needed to be in order to be successful. And I created this persona around that. So that came from, I think, a poor self-image in effect, and that I didn't think I was good enough to do that. So I created this persona. And then I went into this job that I thought this would be good for me. But it really, in the end, wasn't a passion of mine. It's just a way to make money. And I found ways to enjoy it because that's my personality. But it was still draining, and it wasn't charging me up. So I was constantly having to charge myself up, and it's stressful. It's difficult, and not a good way to live a life. Yeah. Thank you, Bob, for the congratulations. I appreciate it. Yeah, things are moving along well, better anyway. So getting better every day. But doing this at self-analysis has been very, very helpful. Poor image of self. That's the number one. And then two, the need for financial stability. That was one for me. I felt that I needed to be this new person in order to be financially stable. And it worked. It did. This author says, I'm surprised how finances are often left out when talking about mental health issues and self-development, as if money did not affect our behavior or life decisions in any way. Well, it did for me. If you think the way you make a living, i.e., a job, business, or anything else, could be affected by you being your true self, then naturally you are going to pretend. You are going to hide all your traits that may hurt your reputation or image or career in any way. Yep. that was me. So Bob asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, what level did you have to make that change? Scale of 1 to 10, what level did you have to make that change? I would say, man, it was so a great question. I was so finely tuned into that persona. It took me down to probably a 1.5 or 2 before I finally just had to give up, acquiesce, just completely give up and say, okay, I can't do this anymore. This is not working for me. And I was really fortunate. My body just said, I'm done with you, dude. I'm out of here. So I finally had to say, no job, body's in trouble, everything's falling apart, no work to do. That's like, okay, I guess I need to relax and regroup. And during that process, I learned all of this. It all started coming about, and starting to think about, okay, what do I really want to do? What's my purpose? And finding joy, being grateful for what I had. At that time was very little compared to what I've had before. and be glad in that. I think that was a big step for me, is just relaxing and saying, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And it's sort of like going into the garden. You have a garden bed and you pull out all the plants, everything, weeds, plants, flowers, everything. Till up the soil, and you're left with just a blank bed with nothing there. Soils could be rotten. And so you start from there. And that's kind of where I was, I think. So what do you do? Well, the first thing you do is you figure out what kind of, what's the soil like there? And then you figure out what plants do you want to put in there, and what things do you want to nurture? What ideas do you want to develop? What things could you help grow? And you just think about it like a garden for me. And so that's what I'm doing now is I've had all the plants ripped out, soil taken out, and reconditioning the soil, putting in nutrients, fixing my body so that it was healing. And my financial stability was in the crapper. There was nothing anyway. So that just started from scratch and just making it happen from there. And then slowly bringing in little projects, little plants, making those grow and blossom and getting confidence, slowly having flowers bloom, appreciating that. So, oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Bob, sharing this too. Everything Next Level, personal and professional development. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is a lot of work that I'm doing with you. It's like this is a blessing for me to have this opportunity. So, need for financial stability, then a need for social approval. Yeah, I had two socials. I had work and I had home, and work became my life. I ended up, I didn't really have a personal. My family would make fun of me because I didn't have any friends. And every time we'd have social gatherings, it was all my wife's or my kids' friends that would come over to the house. And that was crazy. Looking back on it, I was stupid. I would not do that again. This is not what life's about. And so giving up this idea that, I needed to be someone else has been very impactful for me and a blessing in so many ways. So the need for social approval. Now I just want to be me. I don't really care if somebody likes me or not. I mean, I'd love if they do, but if they don't, it's okay. They don't have to like me. It's just who I am. And that, I think, is important. That's part of this mix, is that when I wasn't me, I was attracting the wrong people to me. And they would look at me as if, they'd get to know me, and there was a disconnect. There was an incongruence there. And they like kind of scratch their heads and walk away. They didn't know why, but there was some weird thing with Miller. And so my social life didn't really exist because I wasn't who I was. I wasn't a real person. I was someone else and very confused. So don't do that. The need for social approval. Wrong idea of what's normal. What is normal? How would you define normality? Hint, it's not what you see in social media. Yeah, it's not what you see on TV. It's not perfection or anything close to it. Perfectionists in particular tend to struggle with this. So yeah, I'm not a perfectionist, but I made myself a certain way to gain access to success in the job that I had in that environment. And that's not what life is. Life is first thing that you want to be in life is yourself, I think. But I'm guilty of this is hindsight. So, what are the risks? What are the risks of pretending to be someone else? Well, these are some good questions. Yes, pretending to be someone else may have helped you achieve a certain goal. Yeah, that's true in my case. And yes, it's been a comfortable life so far. Yeah, it was for a while. And then yes, you've made enough friends. Yeah, but they weren't really friends. I knew people, but they weren't really friends. And then the question is, what did you sacrifice for that? Ah. So think about it. If you pretend to be someone that you're not, and you're not sacrificing the most important thing, the number one priority, yourself. Are you not sacrificing the most important thing, the number one priority, yourself? Yes. I have to take a deep breath and sigh because it brings me close to tears thinking about it. Very painful. Very painful. So, also, it's not like pretending to be someone you're not is easy. It's hard, and it was terribly hard. You have to lie, you have to hide, you have to be secretive, not just private, but secretive. Yeah. Yeah. I'm mixing family and friends together. That was very stressful because I had different lives. I was different people. I'd do different things, and they didn't know me that way. Or I would be at work, I wouldn't show myself at all. I was like this corporate thing that wasn't me. It wasn't human. It was just a corporate thing with a shirt and tie, and went out to talk to people to sell stuff. And I was good at it, but it wasn't me. And this article is really shedding light on that. So, and I don't know if I'd even seen this when I was in my 20s, when I was evolving through this, that I would have paid any attention to it. Unless somebody grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and said, "Stop!" you know, Nobody did that for me. I didn't get that blessing, but that would have been a blessing for me. So if you are in a situation where you know someone who's going through this, wake them up, give them the option, tell them the story, and give them that option to say, this is not the path for you. Find your purpose and be very confident in that, and give them that strength to say no to what's easy. I went the easy path. It would have been harder for me to follow my passion, to follow my purpose. And it just, one thing leads to another, one thing leads to another. And it just, pretty soon you're in so deep, you can't get yourself out of it, and without completely ripping everything out. And that's hard. It's really hard. So my advice, again, hindsight, is stay true to yourself and your purpose. And parents, help your kids find their purpose in life, even before college, especially before college. Find your purpose and pursue that. And it may not be going to college. It may not be doing the things that you think are going to lead them to success. In fact, shame on you for trying to force them into that. Shame on you for trying to force them into your idea of what success is. I believe my kids, I was focused on helping them discover the gifts that God gave them, and helping them and nurturing that in them, so that they could do what they love to do in their life. And I think we accomplished that. So but it was on purpose. It was done that way. So making that change is going to cause tension, way too much tension. Pretend to be someone else for years, and you no longer notice the tension, but it's there and it hurts. And yes, I absolutely agree. It's there and it hurts. The irony, and I'd like you to see this as an inspiring rather than depressing thing, by pretending to be someone you're not, you're also prevent yourself from attracting those who would genuinely love the real you. Wow. So what does that mean? When you're young and you're working, trying to bring in money, and you pursue a career that's not you, but you create this persona and you attract a mate. Is that mate the right one for you? It's a good question. Some are lucky, but I think most are not. Our divorce rate today is over 50%. And who suffers in that equation? The kids, mostly, and the family. The kids suffer the most. And the kids who are in divorce families tend to be divorce prone themselves, because they learn that's what happens. Even their subconscious picks that up. So you're leaving that legacy by doing this. So this is important stuff. So it says they are out there. They're looking for someone like you. You don't have to pretend with them. Stop pretending, and you'll attract those who appreciate the authentic you. Yeah. So how do we stop pretending to be someone we're not? Well, there's 7 ways. 7 ways. Celebrate your uniqueness. Your most beautiful gift. Your uniqueness is your most beautiful gift. Discover that. If you don't know what your uniqueness is, or you don't have confidence in that, take the time to understand that and enjoy it, relish it, be grateful for it, love it, nourish it, help it grow. Your uniqueness. Each of us is special in some way, but as long as we focus on others, we're going to see what we lack, not what we are. So focus on yourself, and you'll find a million things that others don't have and that you have. And that's true. So number 2 is accept your imperfections. We've all got good bits and bad bits. So stop trying to be perfect, because you'll never be perfect. Accept your imperfections. Better yet, embrace them, honor them. They are a part of you. They make you, you. Number 3, expect criticism and failure. Yeah, that's a tough one, because I was a pleaser. I'm a pleaser. I want everybody around me to feel good and happy, and I'll sacrifice my pleasure and good feeling for them feeling good. Just sounds crazy, but that's what I have been. I'm working around that now. I'm working through that. So I'm just trying to figure out what makes sense there. So expect criticism and failure. When you start being you, then you no longer are fake, and your fake friends will go away, and you'll attract really good friends around you, and they'll be loyal to you, and they'll have your back when you need it, as you have theirs. And it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship, but it's predicated on that trust of integrity of your personality and who you are, and that congruency. And again, people can pick that up. They see it. And if you're not your authentic self, you're not being authentic to you, then you're in trouble. you are in trouble. You're at one point or another, you're gonna end up in deep doo-doo. So don't go there. Be your own best friend. So, would you really need to pretend to be someone you're not with such a best friend? Imagine for a second that you are your own best friend, like the best, closest friend that you've known over a decade, that that you can truly trust fully at all times, whether it's someone whether there is someone in like that in your life or not. Would you really need to pretend to be someone you're not with such a friend? Probably not. So here's tip number 4. Love yourself. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Loving yourself. That's a hard one. That's a tough. My dad, I don't think he went there. I don't think because he never said I love you. He said I love you to me maybe 2 or 3 times. And it was hard for me at first to say I love you to people. I do it all the time now because I feel that and I feel it's important. And I think it's because I've been working on myself that I do love myself and I appreciate what I've got. And I'm not being boastful with that. I'm just being frank. I've assessed this. I have a lot of blessings. I have a lot of gifts. I have things to offer. I am good. Fundamentally, I am very good. And I believe that I am lovable and worthy of that. So that projects out, and I'm able to give love because I have it inside. I'm able to give it away too. There's enough and to spare of that love because I'm fed all the time. I've surrounded myself with people who are loving and lovable. And that's, I think, a success principle that is helping me now that I've pulled out all the weeds and I've re-established my garden bed and I'm starting to grow plants, and I'm finding wonderful, wonderful things that are growing in my garden now. And so that's been amazing. And love is absolutely part of that. And joy and gratitude and appreciation every day. So love yourself. Number 5, knowing you are always changing. Oh, this is a big one. Having a relationship with people, especially a spouse or someone close to you, I believe you want to be really close and you want to grow together. So every time I go somewhere now, I want to bring Lisa with me. Every time we go anywhere on a event, we go to somewhere where I'm going to something where we're going to learn something, I bring Lisa and she brings me, because we're walking this journey side by side. We are side by side. I'm not walking in front of her and she isn't walking in front of me. We're side by side, and we're going through this journey next to each other and loving each other that way and growing together that way. We do things together things that like meditation. We meditate together, we eat together, we laugh together, we play together, we discuss challenges together, we grow together, and that's a beautiful relationship, and it predicated on love. So giving that away every day is part of that, and we're always changing, we're growing, we're developing, we're becoming, we're being better and more all the time. And if you're growing and your spouse isn't, pretty soon you're going to look at each other and go, who are you? Do you want that? I've been there. I did that. And I don't want that again. So life is about becoming, not being. It's about becoming. Being that's a good thing. It's you're stationary, you're being somebody, you're happy that. But I believe we should always strive to become more. Thank you, Bob, for the well done. I appreciate it. Very, very, very nice. Yeah, this is a fun topic. So normalize being normal. Normalize being normal. If there's a perfectionist inside of you, punch them in the face, he says. When your ego tells you you're not as successful as that celebrity on social media, tell them to shut up and kick your idea or normality out of your mind. Yeah, just normalize being normal. Life isn't a movie, and you are not a character. You're not supposed to be cool. You're supposed to be human. And again, all of us have the good bits and the bad bits. All of us are in some way awkward or weird or strange. Yeah, embrace that weirdness and strangeness. That's your uniqueness, and that's who you are. And that's a wonderful, wonderful trait of each of us to embrace and hold dear. Then the last one is change your environment. So it says, before you try to fix yourself, you want to be 100% honest. 100% honest with yourself and identify whether the environment you are in makes it easy for you to be yourself. If it doesn't make it easy, it makes it difficult. Yes, I would agree with that. Do you feel you have to pretend to be someone you're not with your friends, your boss, your coworkers, your parents, your spouse, your kids, your sister, your brother? Who? Anybody on your list? Whatever the case may be aware of that. If people around you are not able to accept the real you, perhaps it's time to change. Yes. And I'm looking for the author of this article. It's a great article. Let's see. Mental health. They don't have it here. I don't see it. So, well, we'll have to find it and give it credit because it's a wonderful article. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you, Bob Donnell, for your attention and comments and sharing. Wonderful. Very, very fun. And your thumbs up. This topic is I think been very heavy on my mind, and being able to talk about it is good for me. Helps me get clear on things and gives me some perspective, which is really fun. So with that, I'm going to say good day. And tomorrow we're going to talk about longevity. Tomorrow's Longevity Tuesday. So get your health hat on and we'll go from there. Yeah. Thank you, Bob. And we'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye.